Okay, hello everybody. Welcome to Korean Atlanta Mentorship. And in this video, we're going to conduct Velocity Banking Sunday Elementary School, right? So I think every Sunday I do a basic review of Velocity Banking. So if you have no idea what Velocity Banking or you want a refresher from zero, this is the right video for you, right? So let's go over the first question is what is Velocity Banking? So Velocity Banking is a debt and cash flow management system and philosophy to quickly pay off debts using lines of credit, right? And so in order to do that, you only need two things. First thing is you need a budget, and then second thing is you need a line of credit, aka your operating account. So if you have no idea what a line of credit is, all it is a financial tool where you can borrow money, pay it back, and reuse it over and over again. So a credit card is a line of credit, right? Um, Personal lines of credit, home equity lines of credit, those exist too. Um, right. So it's the opposite of a loan because a loan is a one way street. I borrow money, and if I pay it back, I can never reuse it over and over again. Right. Unlike a line of credit. So if you have a credit card, you know what a line of credit is. Although there are some restrictions to what a credit card can do compared to the personal or home equity line of credit. Okay. Next, what is their strategy? What is their basic strategy? So now what we do is we're going to just rearrange our finances based on our budget. And all the strategy is we dump our entire paycheck into a line of credit, take out our expenses from the line of credit, rinse and repeat over and over again, and it's like a set it and forget it system, right? So easy. So easy. In fact, this year I paid off like $55,000 of credit card debt. I borrowed like more than $110,000 of credit card debt for my rental property and to fix it up. And you know, I got a discount, but I still put a lot of money into it. I got over $100,000 discount. Now, again, I used also the same strategy to pay off my mortgage, 25% of it a year. So it's a really easy system to be able to pay off your debt and maintain and control your cash flow. Okay? So now let's go to step one. Step one is our budget. So I've kind of prefabricated a budget here. Um, Really easy income, expenses, check what's left over, checking, savings, cash flow. We say zero usually with your average American because what it means is that if you have money left over, it's kind of like running stale water, right? And if you have debt, so if you for instance, so think about this. Let's say you have like $20,000 of savings and then $20,000 of debt. If you're not applying your money into that debt, it's kind of just it's kind of wasted money, right? That's why we say cash flow is zero. Now, again, if you want to just kind of say, oh, well, technically cash flow is like more than your income minus expenses. Yeah, I get it. Just but for this purposes, we're just trying to discourage you from, well, not me personally, but with Velocity Banking, we usually don't have checking and savings. So you'll see what I mean by that. Okay, so once we've done our budget, next we do an expense breakdown, right? Our expense breakdown. And what's really important in our expense breakdown is that we list every single debt that we have. Every single debt. Every debt is its own line item. Student loan, auto loan, credit card. But these other things, like their general expenses that are not debts, we could actually combine into one line item. But I always like to separate the rent from all the other stuff because we know exactly what we're paying in rent a month. But all the other stuff they can vary. Like I always go to the grocery store on random days of the month, so I don't know what my exact expenses are in the grocery store. But but in general, we're expecting that this can be combined if we actually wanted to. Okay, so now what's the difference between the average American and the velocity banking person? Some people are complaining, hey, like Americans aren't the only ones who have debt problems. I know, but I always like to use it as a derogatory term. Me being an American, you know, you ever heard of like SAD, standard American diet, right? Why is it sad? Because the standard American diet is sad, right? Fast food, hamburgers. Same thing with like the average American, the finances. Most people live paycheck to paycheck. I get it, but I always like to think that most of the problems of the world started in America, especially modern society, right? Like fast food started here. And then like I remember watching this documentary, and I'm going on a random tangent, about how like the Middle East is having like this health problems because they're eating so much fast food. And again, they have like bomb traditional food, right? Like hummus and stuff. And I don't know why they're eating American crap, but that's what's going on in the world. All the problems in the world probably started here, although I can't say that for sure. But certain things like fast food and you know, spending out of control and everything on credit, that probably started here. I don't know for sure, but it seems like that's it starts here and then it just gets spread to the rest of the world. That's just what it feels like. Okay, so now what's the difference between average American and velocity banking? It's not the amount of income, right? It's about what's our operating account. Our operating account, as the average American, is a checking account because we're paying our bills from a checking account. Whereas for velocity banking, the income stays the same, right? We're gonna re-engineer or refactor some of our expenses. We're not gonna have checking and savings, but what's really important is that our operating account is our line of credit, which is not exactly shown here, but it's shown in a little separate section, so bear with me here. But let's say we have a line of credit where maybe the bank is lending you up to $25,000, right? And I know for some of you, this might be like a big amount. I have over $220,000 in credit limits and lines of credit, whether it's like a combination of credit cards, personal, and home equity line of credit. So, if you talked to me in 2016, 2017, I would have been like more than $5,000 in a credit limit from a credit card. Are you insane? And now I'm like 220. And I know some YouTubers who are like more than 2 million. So again, it depends on your level, right? On your personal circumstances. But let's just assume that we have a 15% line of credit here. And so, excuse me, and we're gonna all the things that we care about in credit cards, all we're gonna put them as columns here. So we have a balance, what's the interest paid, and then also how many months does it take to pay it off, right? So let's just do this. So what we're going to do is move some of these debts to the line of credit, increase our cash flow, and then have a place where we could dump all of our paycheck into the line of credit. So if we go in here, look at the basic strategy. You dump your entire paycheck in the line of credit, take out your expenses, and then rinse and repeat over and over again, right? We rinse and repeat. All right, so now the question is, which debt should we transfer to the line of credit, right? Which debt should we pay off? So there's two ways to figure out which debts to pay off. One accounts for the interest rate and one does not. So the first way is you figure out which debts fit this criteria. So highest payment amount, highest interest rate, and the lowest balance, right? So if we have a debt that tries to fit in all of these three criteria as much as possible, we pay those off first. Another way that we can figure out which debts to pay off first is through something called the cash flow index. So all that is a formula where you take the statement balance and you divide it by the monthly payment. So let me just do that. So here the statement balance is 10,000 divided by the monthly payment, right? And then we're going to do that here. So the auto loan is 13,000 divided by 600, right? And then here, which is 9,000 divided by 285, right? And so basically, it's spitting out an arbitrary number, and that number is saying the lower one is the one you want to pay off first, right? So it completely ignores the interest rate, but it's saying that if you pay this off, you get more bang for your buck in terms of cash flow. So if I pay this $13,000 of this auto loan, I get back $600 of cash flow. Whereas if I pay off this $9,000 of a credit card debt, I only get $285 of cash flow. Now here's the thing. In my view, if you move an entire balance of a high interest credit card debt to a lower interest line of credit, like a personal line of credit, that's a complete win. So I might ignore the cash flow index for maybe this credit card, right? But with regards to the student auto loan, I'll say I'll pay off the auto loan first, right? So I do like to take into account the interest rate because let's say you had, 1,000,000% interest rate, although that's not unlikely because there's, laws about how what kind of interest you can charge. But let's say we had like a super low cash flow index, but with 1,000,000% interest rate, maybe I would want to consider paying that off quickly, right? So again, cash flow index, you can look it up on Google. It completely ignores the interest rate, but it's a good measure of which loans we want to pay off first. So I'm going to pay off credit card 1 first because it has the highest interest rate and it has a decent balance and payment amount. So lowest balance, highest interest rate, it definitely fits that criteria. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to go to the bank's website and say, okay, we're going to ask for $9,000 to be dumped in our checking account, right? $9,000, bam, in our checking account, and then we're going to pay off credit card 1. So this is going to be 0, right? So, and then now this is going to be 0 after we do that. Okay? Now, here's the other thing too. We have enough availability in credit line to fit the auto loan. So $13,000 balance, right? So what we can do is just put in the $13,000 balance here, 13000, right? And actually I need to put an equal sign, 13000, and that's 22 grand. So now, again, what we did here was we went to the bank's website. Okay, I'm going to ask for another 13 grand here, and then bam, I'm going to pay this auto loan off. So now I had a $600 monthly payment. Now this is going to go to 0, right? And this is going to go to 0. And the other things that we have is the 400 and our rent and our other things. They're still going to stay the same, right? And then you'll notice that, C2 minus C3, that our cash flow is increased. So look at this. Our expenses went from $3,285 to $2,400 just by rearranging our finances. We didn't make more income. Oh my goodness, like we didn't do anything other than rearrange our finances. Isn't that easy? That's really easy, right? So now the strategy, okay, so let me go back here, is we're going to dump our entire paycheck into a line of credit, take our expenses, and rinse and repeat, okay? So now let's go ahead and do that. So we'll call this month 0, and let's go ahead and dump our entire paycheck here, and then month 1, the balance will go up by 2,400, so it should go down overall by our cash flow, which is G2 minus 2,600, right? Okay, so now let's figure out what the interest is that we calculated. Okay, so how do you calculate the interest? Basically by the average daily balance, right? So the average daily balance is going to be between these two numbers, but we don't know for sure because, do you know exactly what day you're going to go to the grocery store? And that's going to affect the average daily balance, right? So obviously, if you make your purchases as late as possible, that'll lower the average daily balance. But here's what we can do just for the sake of the video. And I was taught this by an accountant. Shout out to you, my favorite Idaho accountant. What we're going to do is we're going to take the average of these two numbers, right? So we have average right here. And let's just do this. So we put G2 and G3, okay? And then what we do is we multiply by the interest rate, which is 0.15, and divide by 12. So this interest rate here, you divide by 12, that's going to be like the monthly interest, okay? And that'll be the interest that that's kind of estimated for month 1. And then the way that we calculate the subsequent months is we take the next month, right? So we take this and this of the previous month, and then we subtract our cash flow to get the balance of what's it called? To get the next month's balance. So what we do is we go to do this equals G3 plus H3. So that's going to take the balance and the interest, and then we minus your cash flow, which is 2,600, right? And then what we do is we just take the same formulas, and then we just kind of rinse and repeat and copy and paste, right? Ooh, take a look at that. So now 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. So at month 9, this should technically be 0, but just kind of wait with me here. At month 9, it's going to take us 9 months to pay off these auto loan and credit cards. So 22 grand, and let's just kind of semi-estimate the interest to pay off those 2 loans, and it's going to be about 1,200. So I don't know about you, but do you know a lot of people who pay off 22 grand in 12 months? Probably not, even if they're making these income. Again, we didn't make more income, we just kind of refactored our expenses, moved it to the line of credit, and then use our cash flow to pay down the debt. Now here's the other thing too. So at this stage, we could probably move the student loan okay, the student loan to here, right? And then just use our cash flow to just pay the student loan. Now, after 9 months, our student loan isn't going to be at $10,000, right? Because we're going to pay $400 for 9 months. Now, some of it will go to interest, some of it will go to the actual balance of the loan, aka the principal. So what I did is I went to bankrate.com, right? So if you take a look here, let me minimize the spreadsheet. So if you take a look here, I went to bankrate.com, put in some numbers. I know it's an auto loan calculator, but it kind of works the same. But basically, I got an estimated $400 a month payment. Again, this is 406, so it's close enough. But what we're going to do is we're going to get to the point where the loan is $10,000, right? So $10,000 is right here. Actually, right here, right? And then what we're going to do is jump 9 months to figure out what the balance of the loan is. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. So about $7,000 is the loan, right? So what we're going to do is now, so at this point, it's going to be $7,000. It's going to be a $7,000 balance, okay? $7,000 balance. So what we're going to do here is just add $7,000, right? And then in the next month, we're going to subtract our new cash flow, okay? So let me go ahead and copy and paste this. So what's our new cash flow? Oopsie. So let's figure out our new cash flow. So now we paid this off. We moved the $7,000 balance here. Our new cash flow is $3,000. That's insane, right? So now what we do is subtract 3,000 in our new cash flow, and we just kind of take the numbers 10, 11. Look at how insane that is. Oh my goodness. Okay. So we'll just put 12. Okay. So now I'm always a little bit unsure because sometimes it happens to me with like credit cards where like I paid it off and then I have to wait like one whole month to pay off like $10 of interest. I've been in a situation before. So I would say it takes 11, 12 months to pay this off. And let's sum it up. So 12 months, right? 12 months to pay off all this debt, right? So that's 10, 13, 9. 10, 13, 9. So let me just kind of do the math here. So it equals 10 plus 13 plus 9. $32,000 of debt in a year? And it only cost me, at least in terms of the line of credit, $1,400. That's insane. And I did it in a year. So I don't know about you, but how many people do you know can pay off this debt quickly, right? $32,000 of debt. And here's the thing. Previously, I kind of overestimated the interest, and now I'm like getting really excited because it's like this is way faster than I normally do it because I overestimate the interest and I underestimate certain other things. So now that I'm doing it a little bit more accurately, um, they say that the road to happiness is like low expectations. So if you overestimate a few things and your results come out better than what they thought you would be, that's how you like get happiness. But yeah, so now after 1 year, 1,400 in interest, I'm debt free. I'm debt free, and then every month I'm getting 3,000 in cash flow a month. 3,000, another 3,000. Now I can truly have money in the bank rather than just having 20 grand in my checking savings and 20 grand in credit card debt that's at 20, 30% interest. Why would I want that? But that's how a lot of people live. And I've talked to a lot of people like that on Zoom calls too. Um, all right. So this is Creating Atlanta Mentorship. If you're interested in joining our group, go ahead and click the Google form link below. Other than that, have a great day and we'll speak next time.